Good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by your next Nissan Pathfinder or Nissan Rogue at Cannon Nissan in Jackson. Great looking SUV, new body style, Nissan Pathfinder at Cannon Nissan in Jackson. And then the Nissan Rogue with unbelievable, it's the crossover with great gas mileage. Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder. All at Cannon Nissan in Jackson. Good morning. Welcome in. We're ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Jason's talking Final Four in here during the breaks.
No, he's not.
He's talking after the biggest win in Ole Miss basketball in the last few years. He is talking. Where is the Final Four this year? Do you know? I think you need to go ahead and get tickets in a hotel room. Biggest crowd in the history of the Pavilion. Ole Miss won the game in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Ole Miss dominated there. And they were 12 of 30 from three-point land, red hot. And then Mississippi State had 15 turnovers. Ole Miss had 7. And TJ Caldwell had scored a combined 13 points in SEC play prior to last night. He finished with 18. 13 combined in 7 games. And then he scored 18. Ole Miss with the 86-82 win over Mississippi State. And the place was packed. Don't ever let them tell you that it's not their rival. Holy smokes. We welcome in Jake Thompson on 3 Sports. The Ole Miss Spirit. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jake, Ole Miss with their biggest win in a long time in basketball last night over MSU. Did you have TJ Caldwell with 18 on your bingo card?
I did not have him going just lights out. Just 4, I think, hit his first 5 shots, and 4 of them were from three-point range. That's the best he's looked in his short time here in an Ole Miss uniform, and they needed it because they just didn't get much out of Morrell and Brakefield early, and so they were needing somebody else to kind of match Jalen Murray's performance, especially with how Josh Hubbard played for State in that first half. He was playing like a kid motivated, as we all kind of expected he would. But no, that was kind of the performance Ole Miss needed, just to match what the fans did. I mean, I know attendance has been a topic for the basketball program in the last week or so, and the fans and the students showed up. I mean, when I got there at 6 or a little before 6, and the game's at 7:30, the student section was full. I mean, nobody else was in the arena, but they let students in early, and that's the first time I've ever seen that happen. So, they're all buying in, they're all believing, and I think last night was the first kind of proof of concept of this new era, this change that Beard's trying to instill here quicker than I think people thought he might do it.
Ole Miss with the 86-82 win over MSU last night. TJ Caldwell off the bench for 18. Did you see this stat, Jake? He had combined for 13 points in SEC play going into the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was a performance that I think everybody wanted him to have because Beard was so high on him, and we were kind of shocked that he was one that Beard fought hard to keep when he was trying to retain Morrell and Brakefield and anybody else that could come back. And but Beard was high on him. He's been high on him, and last night was, I guess, for us to see what Beard has seen, and maybe out of practice. He sees it day in, day out. We only see it once or twice a week, and or see them once or twice a week, and so now we got to see if he can carry that over into what's an even bigger game now, Saturday with their rematch with Auburn, and what try to not have happen what happened about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, big win. Now you got Auburn coming to the Pavilion. Jake Thompson on 3 Sports, the Ole Miss Spirit. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, and we are the Out of Bounds Show. I gave my game ball to Caldwell. Do you give it to Caldwell or Murray or someone else?
I give it to Caldwell just because, Murray did what he has done lately all year, but especially in SEC play. But no, Caldwell was, I guess that 6th man off the bench, and Yeah, no, there was not really any other debate for game ball for me on that one.
Okay. Are you expecting the same type atmosphere Saturday?
Yeah, they had announced it was a sellout already. I think earlier last week or before last night's game, so that atmosphere was going to be expected. But with what they did last night and the crowd they got last night on a Tuesday night at 7:30, I know it was Mississippi State, so that added to the reason to show up. But I think that just makes Saturday's game at 5 even bigger now. And I don't know if it can be louder and rowdier in there than it was last night, but I'm pretty sure they're going to give it a shot.
Yeah. Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Insider on the Out of Bounds Show. What time did you get to sleep?
I got in about, let's see, a little before midnight.
Nice. Did you go party at Funky's?
I did not. I leave that to the professionals.
I love it. Did you see the thing where they had the students? What was it, Jason? It wasn't drink free, but they had specials.
Yeah, so Funky's did half off drinks from 5:30 to 6 o'clock for students, and that probably did a lot for attendance.
Jake, did you see that they were doing that?
I did see that, and that explained why there was so many cans in students' hands when I was trying to walk through them to get up to where we sit. So that makes sense now.
Is that the loudest you've ever heard the pavilion?
It is. I mean, it's the fullest it's ever been, so that adds to it. But that was the loudest that that building has been, and honestly, that's what it was deserved. I mean, it's got to be. I kind of said this, and I say this lovingly, but it's probably the nicest building for a basketball team that hasn't matched the niceness, if that makes sense. In terms of results and what the program just hasn't gotten going. And it's got to be the nicest building in the SEC for a team that is not kind of, like the Kentuckies or the top tier programs. But this feels like they're getting to that, and they matched it last night. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing what happens Saturday. Because if they can string these together, and especially on TV and all this and that, it feels like then maybe they can kind of get that consistency because attendance is what it is for Ole Miss games, and it's not always so much because of the results on the floor. People have other stuff going on. But I know this is a Saturday afternoon, and you got an Auburn team coming in that now looks not as scary. I mean, they're still Auburn. They're still very good, but not as scary as they were when you played them a while ago at Auburn, because that Mississippi State team beat them when they came to Starkville. I know they've struggled at Alabama, so you're getting an Auburn team that hasn't looked good on the road lately. As a lot of SEC teams on the road have struggled, so that plays into Ole Miss's favor.
We're visiting with Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Insider on 3 Sports. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Rebs with an 86-82 victory over MSU last night. All right, let's switch gears, Jake, and talk a little baseball. When you tell me if they started tonight, if they started playing tonight, give me the weekend rotation, in your opinion. Or this weekend. Let's say it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give me the weekend rotation, in your opinion.
I think it'd probably be maybe Xavier Rivas, Friday guy, just because he's the veteran returner. And this is also just me not seeing any of the new guys yet. I didn't get the chance to go to much fall ball, so I'm just kind of going off what I know last year. Rivas, probably Saunier Saturday, maybe Sunday. And, I just think it'd be Quinn, 3 guys that were here last year that Bianco has seen in games. I think that would be your starting 3 on the mound, at least, in weekend 1. And as we've seen last few years, even the year they won it all, who started in February was not exactly the same 3 by March, April, or even May. So it's a fluid thing, but I think those would be the 3 if you had me put a marker on the table.
Okay. What are the expectations? Like, this is is this one of the better teams that Bianco's had, or how would you frame up kind of for you, not for the you're looking at it, they're good here. They may not be as good here. What are your expectations for this team?
They went in and did a much better job, honestly, relative to what they did 2 years or a year ago in the transfer portal, mostly because they had more time, unfortunately, because they were done in mid-May because they just how poorly the season went for them a year removed from that national title. But they went in and they got a lot of offense. On paper it feels like they filled a lot of holes that they lost in offense with getting, Luke Hill, Jackson Ross, the Fisher kid. All three are really strong, offensively, and Luke Hill's coming from Arizona State, and he's going to be asked to kind of fill the hole Jacob Gonzalez, left at shortstop, which, how traditionally Ole Miss has had a run of really strong shortstops. So we'll see how this translates this year.
Yeah.
Just to see. But, the offensively and in the field, I feel like they'll be okay and maybe even better than last year. They kept some guys, and with Ethan Leger back and should be back out in center field, and he got better in that position as the season went on and was one of their better defenders in the field once it was all said and done towards the end of last year. But pitching is just still a question because, you're not going to have Hunter Elliott. He's out for the year. His rehab and protocols keep him out until potentially being cleared from his throwing protocols until late May or June because of whatever the surgery or the process the surgeon they chose did. It's kept him. He's out, so you don't have your ace again for essentially 2 straight years. And so I know they went into the portal and got some guys, some arms, but just haven't seen them. And obviously we have not seen them in an SEC level yet. So that's the only concern I have. But I feel like the bar is so low from what they did last year that I think they're able to have a better year. But how much better, I think, is yet going to be determined as we go along.
Yeah. Well, the league deep. I mean, it's even deeper than football and basketball, in my opinion. Baseball.
It's I think it's a monster and more of a monster. I think even with football, but I think more of a monster than basketball for sure.
Yeah. Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Insider, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. How much have y'all talked about, or, Austin Thomas leaving Lane Kiffin's nest? Some people called him the best general manager in college football. He's going to LSU. People have told me for a while now, I mean, he's just a tremendous asset and big piece of the puzzle. How did you see it?
Yeah, he was one that I think kind of was able to keep everything, together, and was a big part of kind of understanding the NIL part of stuff, with these players and for the staff, and kind of helping Kiffin navigate all this, with there's so many moving parts when it comes to that. And having somebody like Austin Thomas there, especially on those visit weekends, I'm sure that they have those discussions with the players when it comes to that topic at whatever part of the weekend that hits the schedule. But yeah, he kind of kept the ship going off the field, and like you said, probably the best general manager. And it's becoming that way at college sports for having kind of a GM. You used to not really hear that title a lot often, but you've heard it a lot in the last 5 or so years. And so that's a big loss, but it's understandable. He has ties to LSU, tight with some of the administration down there. So it was going to be a tough decision if they ever decided to come back and talk to him, and they did. And he thought about it, and he's heading back to Baton Rouge. But Kiffin has seemed to manage to replace those spots, whether it's staff or other things, fairly successfully, or his rate is pretty successful. So whatever they choose to do to replace Thomas or go a different direction or alter the title or split up the duties, at least, for now, I have confidence that they'll get somebody out there that should be able to do a good job, but it will be big shoes to fill.
Were you surprised Derek Nix made the move from Ole Miss to Auburn?
No, because I feel like the time, he wants that coordinator position because that's just the next step, because I know he wants to eventually, at least have a shot or be a contender for a head coaching gig down the line. And, he was happy here, but I don't know when he would or ever get a coordinator, offer here. And Freeze knows him, and Freeze made that massive turnover. And so Nix's name had just been out there for a while. And then once I heard he had been formally offered, it was, I don't know. I didn't expect him to go, but it made sense. And I don't fault him for it because it's just that next step. Now we'll see how he does at Auburn as a coordinator under Freeze with an offense that, is in desperate need of a turnaround from what we watched last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So yeah, I think he wants to be. I think I agree with you. I think Derek Nix wants to make a run at a G5 job at some point. And maybe even his alma mater, depending on what plays out at Southern Miss later on down the line. But Georgia Southern, Jake, Middle Tennessee, Troy, those programs are paying now, and he's been a successful assistant for a long time. You really can't blame him.
Who knows what happens with Will Hall and Southern. I know this is, I think, kind of a quote-unquote contract year for him, so to speak. So, and he's probably on the hot seat down there in terms of results, just to keep up with, State and Ole Miss. So yeah, no, I'm not saying it's going to be open, but Southern could be open at some point. And I know how much Mississippi means to Nix, and especially Southern. If not the Ole Miss football program, I know how much Southern means to him. So that's a strong possibility down the line.
Yeah. All right. So where's the favorite spot for you right now, where you're eating in Oxford or going out?
We got iced in, so I haven't gone out in so long. It's, I got to get back in the groove. But I got to say, I still love me some South Depot. So I think I'm going to keep waving that flag every time you ask me for now.
Okay. What do you like there?
I got a quesadilla for the first time, but I'm usually just a burrito guy. I don't really change much. I'm a creature of habit. And you can even ask the coffee shops around here. They see me coming. They usually have it made before I place my order.
Okay. When was the last time you partied at Funky's?
Oh, I've been out of school for 10 years, so I'm going to say at least 10 years. I leave that to the young ones. I stay on the other side of the square most times now.
Okay.
I can't. I know what is required for that side of the square, and I don't have it in me anymore.
Jason's disappointed. He was hoping. Jason, when did you graduate from Ole Miss? Last May?
Yeah, last May.
Okay.
I get South Depot. I love South Depot, but Jake, I need to know what you think about Handy Andy. Is it overrated, underrated?
Okay.
A good burger? What do you think?
It's fine. I mean, I've had their barbecue burger and I had a cheeseburger, and trust me, I know what the locals think of it here and value it, and I get it, but it's fine. I wouldn't say it's bad or good, or I'd say it's good. It's not fantastic to me, but everybody's got different tastes, and so if it was the only place open, I would definitely go. So it's not that I don't like it, but I'm not as big of a Handy Andy guy as a lot of the locals here.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Jake. Celebration lunch today for the big win?
Maybe Handy Andy, since I've been put on the spot in case anybody heard me in town.
I love it. All right, man. We'll talk soon. Okay, buddy?
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Okay, man. Ole Miss insider Jake Thompson on 3 Sports. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, the Ole Miss Spirit, and recapped the game. He agreed on TJ Caldwell, game ball, 18 points off the bench. Again, I'm saying this all morning, but I think it's a big deal. He had scored 13 points total in SEC play. He comes off the bench last night. He scored 18. Ole Miss won the game in the first 5 minutes of the second half. And Mississippi State's got to clean it up. 15 turnovers. Ole Miss had 7. They played clean. Credit to them. Also, games over 72 points. Mississippi State doesn't win. So, and Ole Miss felt comfortable running. Granted, when you got a kid coming off the bench giving you this, it makes it smoother. But Murray and Caldwell and Morrell looked much more comfortable in transition than Mississippi State. Hub was good in the first half. Got to get him some more looks in the second half. He's you can't guard him. And he'll get there. Remember, Murray's a junior. Hub's a freshman. It's a little bit different deal here. But he carried you in the first half. If he doesn't have 16, what are you doing? Right? And he made some, I thought the announcers made a great point. He's not just a 3-point shooter. He drove the lane, and made some nice buckets. Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off Jake Thompson on the hand. I had a burger from Handy Andy last time I lost. It's solid. It's not. So I've been there twice in the last year, and I think it's solid. To me, it wasn't like, wow,
Life-changing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was fired up the first time I went, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's not bad by any stretch. I hope they do well, but I'm kind of with Jake. I'm not like overwhelmed by any stretch, but I got one on the way out. When we did the show from Finch and Kelly, we should give a shout out to Patrick Kelly. He's excited. He was in the stands last night. He was sending me pictures in the pavilion. He had great seats. I guess it pays to be the man. Patrick Kelly, owner of Finch and Kelly Clothing Store, custom clothing in Oxford. And obviously he's hosted the Out of Bounds show twice.
Oh, yeah. There's
major cachet with that. But anyway, yeah. Ole Miss's win, we'll say, is brought to you by Finch and Kelly on the Square in Oxford, custom clothing store. Love it. We're going to be there again in March, I think. So looking forward to that. We'll do a show from Finch and Kelly. I like that show because we do it later in the morning, and we pour a Tito's Bloody Mary to start it off.
Nice. And you'll be there March, around when Ole Miss is making the run for the national championship in basketball.
Yeah, right.
And then right when the second national championship for baseball is underway, starting things off hot in March, keeping it rolling till June.
No question.
Yeah. See, back to Handy Andy, I think it's like a New York slice when it comes to, like,
I've had the barbecue and the burger.
The barbecue's delicious. I like the burger because the burger's just a simple, like a greasy burger.
It's in a bag. I get the whole thing. Yeah.
And so that's what I think. I think it's like a New York slice. You're not expecting the best burger you've ever had in your life. You're expecting what you want, and that's what you get. You know what I mean? So that's why I think it's kind of like it's good because it's what it is. It's Handy Andy's. It's in like the old, I think that was that the Beacon, or it was an old breakfast spot, and then it was,
I think so,
Handy Andy.
I think so. See, you never got to party at the Gin, so you don't, or Forrester's.
Yeah,
and so you just, those were phenomenal bars.
Never had the pleasure.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. My grandfather was a huge city grocery guy, though. He's got a plaque up there. Yeah. He went so much.
I mean, I've been there a bunch of times, both downstairs and that's a wonderful place. Obviously, two totally different vibes, though, from downstairs to upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
I did a show from upstairs.
Really?
Yeah. Currents joined me for an hour. Talked food and booze and all kinds of crazy stuff.
No way. Well, if you go, get the well-deserved. It's named after my grandfather. It's a gin drink. I'm not sure what's all in there.
Oh.
But it's on the menu, the well-deserved. Go for that.
Okay.
I didn't personally care for it.
PK took me there last time when we went after the Zeno Davidoff dinner that they had up in Oxford.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up at City Grocery for a nightcap. It's a damn good thing we didn't start the show until 10.
Yeah, for real.
I don't stay out like that on weeknights. Last night was I literally hit the shower and went to bed after TJ Caldwell had a career night. Good morning. Welcome in. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Don't forget, we're on Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Hour number 3 coming up.